So there are giddy rhino Republicans and liberal Democrats all over the country who think that Donald Trump, you can count him out because of this lunch with Kanye West. The whole thing, I believe, was a setup, and it will not stop Donald Trump. But there are people out there, they hear vibrations of this, and they're absolutely horrified. So many people are horrified because of what the fake news tells them, and the fake news often lies. This is one of the classic ones. This is during the campaign of 2016. Maybe you saw the report. Donald Trump's worst offense, mocking disabled reporter. Oh, everybody was horrified. How could he do such a thing? How could he make fun of somebody like that? Well, that was the lie, but the truth was something entirely different, and it actually set our next guest free. Brandon Straka, of course, the founder of the Walk Away campaign, political activist and commentator, an all-around great guy. And you know what, Brandon? I mean, right? That moment, we'll play it in a moment. You were set free, but it took a lie to set you up for that freedom.
That's true. Yeah, that was actually the moment that began the whole journey for me to walk away. And when somebody reached out to me years ago and sent me that clip debunking that Trump mocked the disabled reporter, I actually had to watch it 3 or 4 times before I was able to actually process that the media had been lying to me. It wasn't true. That was a false fake news narrative that was being put out really by CNN and company. And yeah, that was the beginning for me.
Tell us a little bit about what your outlook was in the years, that year and prior. Who were you politically, and what was your media diet? And you assumed, I guess, that you were being told the truth, right?
Absolutely, yeah. So I was a lifelong Democrat Party voter. My media diet consisted of CNN, Huffington Post, MSNBC, the New York Times, BuzzFeed, Vice. These are media sources that I trusted. I thought that they were providing dependable, reliable information. I thought that they were looking out for marginalized minority communities and giving me real, honest news, and actually giving me warnings of what my political enemies, aka the Republican Party, aka Donald Trump, et cetera, were up to, and the ways in which they were trying to hurt people. That's why I became so enraged when I discovered that the media was actually lying to me. The media that I trusted, the media that I thought had my back, was actually manipulative, duplicitous, and really propagandizing for the Democrat Party and trying to control people through fear and false narratives like the disabled reporter and so many other things. And that realization was a real betrayal for me. And that was the reason why ultimately I couldn't have any part of it anymore. And I think that that's happening to so many other people in this country. I think it's been happening for years. We saw that in the walkaway testimonials up until now. And I think we're going to continue to see it for the next few years going into 2024.
Now, here's the moment, and this is smoking gun proof of the media's duplicity and outright dishonesty. This is 2015, early in the campaign. And we have it all set up here, ABC News, and this is how it was reported. Donald Trump had a beef with the reporter, and well, take a look.
The Republican frontrunner at a rally in South Carolina this week appearing to mock a journalist who is disabled.
And now the poor guy, you got to see this guy. Oh, I don't know what I said. I don't remember.
That reporter, the New York Times' Serge Kovaleski, who has a chronic condition affecting his joints that limits flexibility in his arms. On Thanksgiving, Trump tweeting, "I do not know the reporter for the New York Times or what he looks like. I was showing a person groveling to take back a statement made long ago." The New York Times saying, "We're outraged that he would ridicule the physical appearance of one of our reporters."
Wow, and lots of people were horrified. I mean, how could he do such a thing? It sounds absolutely terrible. Of course, we're about to tell everybody the truth. First of all, do you remember that specific report? Did you react before you found out the truth? Did that make a big impact on you when Donald Trump was alleged to have done that?
I'll never forget it. I remember being on the treadmill at the gym with them showing CNN in front of me, and they froze a picture of him, Donald Trump, while he was in the middle of doing this. They froze it while he was kind of like this, and they put the pictures side by side with the headline that said, "Trump mocks disabled reporter." And I remember feeling actually sick to my stomach. I remember thinking it was the most repugnant, repellent, disgusting thing I'd ever seen a politician do or ever heard of somebody doing on the political stage. And then I started seeing how his supporters were continuing to support him. And I couldn't understand it. I couldn't understand what was going on with the heart and soul of people in America that they were willing to go along with this. And it wasn't actually until after he was elected that I found out the truth about that moment, that it was the media that was lying to me. It was that all the duplicitousness and the repugnance and at all of those things that I was feeling were apt. It's just that Donald Trump wasn't the problem. CNN was the problem. MSNBC were the problem. The people who created and propagated the lies were the problem.
So you put out a video for the Walk Away campaign, and you summarized it very beautifully, and you showed images that proved Donald Trump did that routine whenever he was kind of referring to somebody who's flustered because they got caught in a lie. And let's go ahead. This is produced by Brandon Straka, and it inspired a lot of people. Take a look.
In 2016, I voted for Hillary Clinton. When Trump won the election, I was confused and outraged. How could half the country support someone so unfit, so unsound, and so morally objectionable? In January of 2017, I bitterly proclaimed on social media I would never be able to understand how anyone could vote for a man who stood before a cheering crowd and mocked a reporter's disability. And that's when somebody sent me this.
I mentioned the word regulated. What do you think about ISIS? Oh, ISIS is very tough. They said, Senator Cruz, what do you think of waterboarding? I don't want to talk about it. You know, he didn't want to talk about waterboarding. Written by a nice reporter. Now the poor guy, you got to see this guy. I don't know what I said. I don't remember.
Doing a comical imitation of somebody getting flustered after being called out for being dishonest and mocking someone's disability is a very important distinction. To intentionally mislead the public into believing something terrible and sinister took place, something that strikes a blow straight into the heart of what we consider to be common civility and the basic standards of decency, is reprehensible. To purposely invoke racism, homophobia, bigotry, and falsely assign these emotionally charged accusations to people in situations where they do not belong, simply to control your thinking, is criminal.
Wow. I mean, you know, it's like, I don't know if you believe in God, but he can take a lie and provide the truth through that lie. It's an amazing video. And I actually remember where I was when I saw that video. And I was like, wow. Well done. Well done.
Thank you. At the time that I put that video out, President Trump actually retweeted it, which helped, it get a lot of generation. And I just want to say, going in the next couple of years, these things are going to continue to happen. The media is not going to leave him alone. They're not going to stop badgering him. And I really hope that President Trump has some good people on his team that are debunking these things. I mean, I shouldn't be the one having to do this, but I hope he gets in touch with me because I want to help him out.
Do me a favor, Brandon, we got a little bit more time. I want you to stick around and find out a little bit more about your evolution and what comes next. We'll be right back with Brandon Straka. Yeah, that's Kanye West under that stocking, ski mask. I don't know what it is. He was spouting horrible anti-Semitic things, praising Hitler. But somehow this is Trump's fault. Somehow, again, this is Trump's fault, and he's the one to be discredited. I feel Brandon Straka joins us once again, founder of the Walk Away campaign, political activist and commentator. It's not directly kind of comparable to the situation with the reporter and Trump allegedly imitating him, but there's something here. Before we go through it, they're trying again to besmirch Trump, to stop him. This is their latest trick. I don't think it's going to work.
No, and it's the same tactic all over again, which is trying to attack the moral character of their target or their opponent. That's what they did, trying to say this is somebody who's capable of mocking a reporter's disability. They're constantly trying to call Donald Trump a racist, a bigot. Now they're calling him an anti-Semite, despite the fact that his daughter, I believe, is converted to Judaism and that his grandchildren are Jewish. And that Donald Trump has been one of the most pro-Israel, pro-Jewish presidents that we ever had. But again and again, this is what they're going to try to do. And it's really about inflaming the sensibilities of their base. People on the left are extremely triggered by social injustices or what they perceive to be social injustices. It takes very little to trigger them if you tell them somebody's engaged in acts of racism and bigotry, homophobia, transphobia, etc. What we know about this dinner that happened at Mar-a-Lago was that Trump invited Kanye West to have a dinner. The two of them have known each other for a long time. Kanye had told President Trump that he had something to talk with him about and ended up springing a couple of guests on him. Next thing we know, somehow Donald Trump is responsible for some anti-Semitic behavior of one of the guests at the table who he didn't even know. This is a tactic they're going to continue to use again and again and again. It's getting exhausting, actually.
Nobody really knows who Nick Fuentes is or cares, and I think we accept that, yes, he was there by accident. But Kanye, how about this? And what does it say about America right now? We deplore, of course, anti-Semitism is horrible, but when you look at this guy, this is obviously a mental health situation, and there are plenty of headlines documenting his decline. Back in February, it came out that, yes, he's bipolar. And I think Kim Kardashian stepped forward and said, please have compassion for my husband as he and we go through this terrible illness, mental illness. And now everyone is out to cancel him. Look, I think, quite frankly, you can have empathy and compassion for a guy like Kanye West and still decry anti-Semitism because he's sick, and therefore maybe it makes him slightly less responsible for the horrible junk that's coming out of his mouth.
Well, I think that anyone who identifies as a Republican, as I do, we need to be a lot more discerning about who we lift up to be voices of our movement. And I think that there's a little bit of a desperation on the side of Republicans to, A, have prominent black voices, and B, have prominent celebrity voices. And so when you've got a rapper like Kanye West, I mean, it's interesting to me that Republicans, conservatives so often will go on saying, to Hollywood celebrities or people in the entertainment industry, they say, just shut your mouth, just sing, just act, we don't want to hear about your politics. But the moment that somebody in the entertainment industry starts saying something pro-Trump or pro-MAGA, everyone in the conservative movement wants to stick a microphone in front of their mouth. And I think sometimes we need to do a little more thinking about who it is exactly that we're lifting up and giving that microphone to, because it's clear to see in certain instances there are people who are not exactly the best representations that we want out there representing the MAGA movement. And just because Kanye West happens to be a famous rapper and somebody in the entertainment industry doesn't necessarily mean he's going to be the best spokesperson for the America First movement.
You're right about that. We are kind of celebrity starved on the right. They don't find us cool. They don't want to hang with us. But when one of them expresses some, we overreact. We overreact.
Yes.
All right. So listen, you've had a hell of a past 2 years. I think you got really unfairly persecuted regarding events in Washington in January 2021. How are things going? What's next for you?
Things are going great, honestly, and I'm really excited now for what's coming next. I've been talking for quite some time about the impending launch of Walkaway Social, the social media platform for Walkaway campaign that's going to replace the testimonial group that was taken down. Facebook banned the Walkaway campaign shortly after January 6, 2021, which honestly had nothing to do with the fact that I was present in D.C. on January 6th. It was the same day they started mass banning all conservative accounts, including Donald Trump's. But we lost hundreds of thousands of people in the movement and the testimonials, tens of thousands of testimonials. And so my team and I decided to build our own social media platform, which we're going to be launching within, I'd say, by the end of the year or early January. But we're at the very end of the road now. We're just building the mobile app. They're going to go into the app stores, and we're ready to go. So this is honestly, I think, the most exciting part of the Walkaway journey is just about to come.
Love it. Love it. Walkawaycampaign.com. Yeah. Check it out. Brandon Straka, thank you so much. We're out of time. Thank you very much, and we'll see you tomorrow.